I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Governing Board of the Lammersville Unified School District on February 17th, 2021 at 7 o'clock p.m. Trustee Clements, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. Roll call, please.
Ann Bonilla. Present. Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Sanita Jithendra.
Here.
Okay. Approval and/or corrections to the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, on a motion by Trustee Clements and a second by Trustee Bonilla. Is there any further comments? Student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 5 votes, with 5 ayes. Presentation on the Mountain House High School biomedical pathway video. Superintendent Nicholas?
Yeah, I just want to do a brief introduction. We want to really acknowledge our biomedical program, CTE Career Pathway at the high school. It's truly an exceptional program. Specifically, it's led by a teacher of extraordinary passion, Chris Olson, and we want to thank her for her years of dedicated service to our district and our students. One of the cool things that happens over time is you get a passionate person with passionate kids, and all of a sudden, really great things start happening. What we're about to see this evening is what is the capstone project, which is the culminating event of a years-long, multi-year cycle of courses within the biomedical pathway. And so the students here are presenting their final statement on proper medication disposal.
Hello, we are Mountain House High School seniors, and today we will be presenting about proper medication disposal. We are all students enrolled in the biomedical pathway, and this is part of our capstone project that strives to spread community awareness about the safe disposal of medication. We chose this topic since there's not a lot of coverage on the effects of improper disposal. It's relevant since many people take medications on a day-to-day basis, and also because we wanted to do something involving pharmaceuticals. My name is Emily Chu, and I'm interested in plant diseases, so I hope to become a plant pathologist. My plan is to attend the University of California for a plant biology or microbiology degree.
My name is Aditi Varma, and through the biomedical pathway at MHHS, I have really grown to love the biomedical field. As a result, I hope to attend a 4-year university for either a microbiology or biomedical engineering degree, and then ultimately go to medical school to become an anesthesiologist.
Hi, I'm Leanna Trin, and I have always been interested in the pharmaceuticals field and hope to become a pharmacist in the future. My plan is to attend and graduate from University of the Pacific's PharmD program.
Hello, my name is Nalasha Krishnamurthy. I am fascinated by medical devices and genetics, and I plan to go to a 4-year university after I graduate to pursue a degree in bioinformatics or biomedical engineering.
In this presentation, we will be covering why the proper disposal of medications is important by going over the harm improper medication disposal can do to the world. Then we will go over what the correct ways to dispose of medications are, and finally conclude with a brief recap of all of the important information to remember. When medications are improperly disposed of, there are many negative consequences this can have on humans. One main consequence is that it can lead to antibiotic resistance. Antibiotic resistance is when pathogens, such as bacteria, do not respond to the antibiotics that were created to kill them. When antibiotic resistance develops, the antibiotics that are normally used to fight off and kill the germs are no longer effective, which results in the bacteria continuing to grow in your body. Antibiotic resistance is dangerous because if you were to acquire an infection caused by antibiotic-resistant bacteria, it would be extremely difficult and maybe even impossible to treat the infection. Some people do not dispose of their medications properly and instead leave them lying around in their house within their medicine cabinets much past their expiration dates. This can have a harmful impact on humans in two different ways. First of all, it leaves the medication susceptible to substance abuse, which is especially important considering the ongoing opioid crisis in America that resulted in almost 50,000 overdose deaths in 2018, according to the CDC. Also, not disposing of your medications properly and leaving them around can give children easy access to the medications. Since children have much smaller bodies, less medications are needed to cause harm to their bodies and to their well being. According to the CDC, around 50,000 children less than 5 years old are brought to emergency departments each year because of unsupervised ingestions of medications. By learning to properly dispose of our medications, we can prevent many of these negative effects on humans.
Disposing your medications improperly can also have adverse effects on aquatic life in the environment. One instance of this can be seen in aquatic plants when they do not grow to their full potential. When aquatic plants do not fully grow, there is less nutrients for the animals that feed on those plants, lowering population levels. In addition to plants, there is evidence that exposure to radiation causes behavioral and physiological change in fish. Fish that previously lived in darker areas were seen being attracted to the light where predators could easily find them. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and U.S. Geological Survey discovered that 60 to 100% of all male smallmouth bass they examined exhibited intersex qualities. All the fish included in that study came from 19 natural wildlife refuges. Other animals such as mussels have also suffered. 70% of 300 species of freshwater mussels in North America are declining, endangered, or extinct. The environment has also been affected. If pills are disposed of improperly and are unknowingly burned, toxins are released into the atmosphere. This can degrade the environmental ecosystem over time. It can also increase the death rate in animals who consume these toxic chemicals.
The three proper disposal methods are a take-back program, flushing, and tossing your medication away in the trash can. A take-back program should be your first and most preferred method. Take-back programs can be found in a multitude of places in your community, neighborhood, town, or city. They can be found in local pharmacies, grocery stores such as Safeway and Walmart, and hospitals. They allow for easy disposal of medications to prevent drug abuse and to lower overdose deaths, as there's not expired or unused medication just lying around in your household. The closest take-back programs in the Mountain House Tracy area include Kaiser Permanente Pharmacy on Grant Line Road, Safeway Incorporated on West 11th Street, and Grant Line Pharmacy Incorporated on West Grant Line Road. We are currently in the process of talking to a pharmacist at UOP in hopes of getting a take-back program in our area. We have also included a tiny URL link for you to find a take-back program near you. All you do is put in your zip code and the miles radius that you want away from your location, and a list shows up of the take-back programs closest to you.
The next option is to flush the medications, which should only be done if a take-back program is unavailable. However, not all medications can be flushed, and it's important to know which medications are allowed to be flushed. Before flushing down any medications, it is important to read the label to confirm that the particular medication can be flushed down the toilet or sink. If the medication is allowed to be flushed, there will be specific instructions on the label on how to properly flush the medications. Another way to check if the medications are allowed to be flushed is by checking the approved flushable medication list to see if the medication that they wish to flush is on the list. This link can be used to check which medications are allowed to be flushed. If there are no instructions to flush certain medications, people must move on to the last option. If the medicine that you wish to dispose of cannot be flushed, it is time to move on to the last resort, which is disposing the medication in the household trash. There are a series of steps to follow to fully ensure safe disposal when disposing in the trash. First, empty the medicine from its packaging and mix it with an unappealing substance, such as coffee grounds or cat litter. Make sure not to crush any pills. Doing this deters any animals, potential abusers, and children from discovering the medicine. After this is done, pour the mixture into another container, such as a Ziploc bag, and throw away in the trash. As for the original packaging, make sure to cover any personal information and discard appropriately. Since this option may lead to addictive drugs getting into the wrong hands, it is highly advised against if the take-back program is available or if the medication is flushable.
So to conclude, the proper disposal of medications is very important. If medications aren't properly disposed of, there can be many negative consequences on humans, the wildlife, and the environment. To prevent these from happening, medications can be disposed of safely in 3 different ways: through take-back programs, flushing it down the toilet, or throwing away in the trash while following certain procedures. And with that, we hope everyone listening was able to learn even a little from our presentation about the importance of the safe disposal of medications. Thank you for listening.
Wow. Very impressive. It was nice to hear that because in years past, several of the board members and myself attended, what was that event called?
The white
coat?
The white coat ceremony, yeah, where the kids would present all of their research. And Mr. Pombo and I would look at each other and go, half of this is over our heads. So a great job by our kids.
Yes, one of the many things that I miss about not having kids in school and participating in events.
Yeah, and I know you've been to a couple also, right, of the white coats?
Yeah, they did a wonderful job, so kudos to those kiddos.
Yes, very well done. They asked if they could present to the board, or they wanted to send us something, and I think just from emailing back and forth, this is what grew out of it. Sure, make a presentation.
Yeah, well, they did a great
Yeah. Hopefully other groups of students will want to send something forward for us as well. Okay, moving on to committee reports. So I'd just like to make an announcement. We're going to switch in the Education Committee, which is currently Trustee Pombo and Trustee Olson. We're going to switch the order. So Trustee Olson comes first. So she will be reporting out for that committee. So going through the committees, District Advisory Committee will hold a virtual meeting on March 3rd at 5:30. District English Language Advisory Committee.
Nothing
Trustee Bonilla?
Nothing to report.
Okay. Education Committee, Trustee Pombo?
Isn't that the one that,
I'm sorry, not following my own thing. Trustee Olson?
The Education Committee met last night to a very well-attended meeting on Zoom. I believe I looked and there were at least 106 participants. Principal Fulbert, Assistant Principal Joni Hellstrom, and Heather Sherburne presented information regarding course selections at Mountain House High and all of the opportunities provided to our high school students that include their academic options, their pathways, extracurriculars, awards, and the early college pathway program. The presentation was excellent. There were excellent questions asked. The information will be posted on the district website for anybody who couldn't attend. And I think that I'll just reiterate what Trustee Lampel, Trustee Pombo, and I all said last night, which is we are so happy to see all the opportunities our students have at the high school and all the hard work that the district office and staff at the high school puts into making those options possible for our students.
Thank you. Facilities Committee, Trustee Clements?
We did meet virtually the Thursday after the last school board meeting. There was one significant item. District staff recommended that they be allowed to open field facilities for public, for public reservation once health guidelines allowed that to be done. The decision of the committee at the time was to allow that, but not to continue to have indoor facilities not be allowed for public rental, and also the swimming pool was also a topic of discussion. And we went along with the committee went along with a district staff recommendation. And we did not think that needed a board vote, but if a member of the board disagrees with the decision of the committee, you can chat with the president and it can be put on an agenda if necessary.
And the meeting minutes are attached to this agenda item if anybody wanted to take a look at them. Okay, thank you. Where am I? Policy Committee, Trustee Bonilla?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Safety Committee, Trustee Pombo?
The Safety Committee met earlier today, and the topics discussed were site safety plans and any changes to those safety plans, and also COVID precautions implemented at the sites. That's my report.
Okay, thank you. And the Wellness Committee, Trustee Pombo?
The Wellness Committee met last week, and we discussed the CHPH updates. Catch My Breath or vaping presentation was presented by Director Busatil. It's a program to combat vaping and other tobacco use issues with our students. We also discussed mental health and what we can do to help the kids during this pandemic. That's my report.
Thank you. Moving on to governing board reports. Student member Jitendra?
Currently, ASB is holding a town hall for next year's student elections, and we're also sending out election officer contracts. And I have started a plan for the panel that I brought up at 2 meetings ago, and we're just working on that right now. So all of the plans for next year.
Okay, great, thank you. Trustee Olson?
I attended the San Joaquin County Office of Education training for new board members on February 5th, which covered in large part the Brown Act. The presentation was excellent and very informative. I actually really enjoyed it, probably because it was from an attorney. It was great to hear from the San Joaquin County Office of Education superintendent as well, and his assistant and associate superintendents, and I learned a little bit about what each of them do to support education in our county. And I only regret that it couldn't be in person so I could meet them face to face. Wanted to thank Dr. Nicholas for stepping up for the Mountain House Rotary Club and presenting to our community. That was wonderful. It was exciting to hear from you, and I know the community members that are part of Rotary appreciated it. And I would really like to thank district staff for always being so helpful and answering my questions and never making me feel like I'm asking a stupid question, and especially this last week, Heather Sherburne, for giving me a detailed response on what our district does for Black History Month and how we celebrate it. I was very grateful to learn of the things that, and see the things that our district does and the efforts our teachers go to enhance student education on that. And especially just, if I could give a shout out to the Black Student Union from Mountain House High School. I've been following them on Instagram, and their daily Did You Know posts have been very fun to read because they do share facts that I didn't know. And in the spirit of Black History Month, I watched the virtual presentation hosted by State Superintendent Tony Thurmond today, entitled Black Minds Matter, addressing the disproportionate suspensions of Black students and youth. It was an eye-opening, captivating, and excellent presentation, and it's available for all to watch on YouTube, and if you haven't had the chance to watch it, I highly recommend it.
Great, thank you. Trustee Pombo?
I don't really have much to report. I would just like to encourage my fellow board members, as well as anyone else listening, to support the fundraisers that the different schools are putting on. They're having a very difficult time fundraising in these times with everything being canceled and the like, but there are quite a few options to purchase meals that cost nothing extra, but the schools get a cut from the participating restaurants, which is good. It helps the kids and the restaurants. Also, starting Friday, I believe, the Lammersville School Foundation is having a virtual auction for their items that were donated for the canceled event that they put on every year. If anybody needs the link, let me know and I will get it to you. And that concludes my report.
It's the grade level baskets.
Yes.
From last year, and there's some very interesting stuff in those.
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Bonilla?
I attended the Wellness Committee meeting last week on February 10th, and other than that, I have nothing to report.
Okay, Trustee Clements?
Other than attending the facilities meeting, committee meeting, I have nothing to report, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Yesterday, I visited Bethany School as the kinder through fifth grade students returned to their hybrid schedule. It was absolutely amazing how quickly they got to work. It was like they hadn't missed a beat. They just got right in there and they were working hard. And I had the pleasure of walking around to almost all of the classrooms with Principal Wingo. Okay, having trouble with, whoa. Okay. My computer's doing weird things, bear with me. Okay.
It's hard to manipulate that
It is.
little
I'm
box.
used to it on my own computer. Okay. Earlier today, I attended the Safety Committee meeting, which Mr. Pombo reported out on. I attended the Facilities Committee, which was reported by Trustee Clements. And thank you for mentioning the fundraisers. I enjoyed helping out with Altamont's Burgerum's fundraiser. I had never eaten there. And taking the shelter in place very seriously, sometimes I get a little tired of cooking. So I was very appreciative I did not have to cook that night. The Glee Club is having a post-Valentine concert tomorrow. I am looking forward to that. And let's see if this thing would scroll a little bit better. I don't know if I missed anything. I think that's it. Okay. I'm going to stop there because
Speaking of
scrolling back and forth. You see what it's doing?
troubles with that little box, I wish it would
Yeah.
expand so that you could open it up
Yeah.
and just read it from top to bottom, but
Yeah,
that
it just won't.
doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Okay, whatever. All right, moving on to receiving of public comments. Superintendent Nicholas?
Yes, we have one public comment, and then we have a second public comment that is going to go with info and discussion item B. So I'll read the public comment. Sanjay Sharma. Hello, board members. I want to bring to your attention a couple of things. I hope the board would consider adding them to the next board meeting schedule to get more community feedback on these issues. Number one, high school students have to take the Global Studies Health course in 9th grade and Adulting 101 in 12th grade. Both the courses are mandatory as per the LUSD board's approval. However, looking at both courses' contents, you would find it redundant because students learn similar content through other high school courses or school clubs opportunities. Most of the students take PE, economics, government, history, business, finance courses, do community service, join many clubs, and do many chores at home. These activities or skills enrich them with similar content or exposure they would learn in both the mandatory courses. Other skills such as resume building, teachers' recommended letters, mock interview, can be understood by working with their counselors and building their profile. Students' connection with the counselor can support such activities and do not require Adulting 101 type class. Instead, a student can take courses that are aligned to their career interests. By eliminating the mandatory requirement to the Adulting 101 and Global Studies Health, the student can choose courses that best fit their career. Technical courses, vocational training, and career pathways offer students opportunities to add critical skills for college, community colleges, or trade schools. Feedback from some of the previous Mountain House High School students about Adulting 101 is also not favorable. Skills such as doing laundry, baking, managing bank account do not require Adulting 101 type class, as these skills students learn through the natural process anyway in middle and high school. Having the freedom not to select Adulting 101 in the senior year gives them space to complete their pathway or finish their career interest-related course by keeping the right balance of courses in the senior year. Therefore, I request the board take feedback from the community and consider making both Global Studies and Adulting 101 optional classes instead of mandatory courses. Students need the freedom to make their own course decisions based on their interests. 2, I think the district and high school administration are already aware of the Edgenuity issues. The majority of the students and teachers would not provide positive feedback about Edgenuity. It's very fast-paced, boring, and repetitive. Students who are in distance learning also use Edgenuity for Spanish classes. I would request the district to add some resources to help make self-recorded lecture videos from teachers and send them to the students to solve this issue temporarily while exploring other ideas. As you know, teachers meet twice a week with the students in the current distance learning model, so the self-recorded videos would help cover more content on the days when teachers do not meet the students. Thank you.
Okay, and I neglected to read the whole section on 3 minutes per, but it was only the 2 comments. But I do want to add that even though we are meeting face-to-face, due to the current meeting restrictions, which have not been lifted, we are continuing to receive public comment virtually. And I was able to figure out my computer here, and there was something I didn't get to in my report. We're very proud of Mountain House senior Shania Donaraj for becoming a National Speech and Debate Association Academic All-American. Congratulations to Shania, and go Mustangs. I also wanted to add something about the meetings. You're hearing about these numbers, huge numbers of participants, which we don't usually get when people meet in person. So once COVID is over, I think we want to think about and discuss as a board which meetings should continue virtually. There were, Stephanie, what did you say, like 100 people last night?
At the height of it, I saw 106.
Yeah, I wasn't tracking the number. And that was incredible because we don't get that. And then it's also recorded. And I'm just very impressed with the numbers that we're getting virtually. And it's something we might want to think about moving forward when COVID lifts in the near future. Okay. All right, moving on to consent items for consideration. Governing Board meeting minutes of February 3rd, 2020. Contracts under $50,000. Ratification of budget revisions and warrant list from January 1st, 2021 through January 31st, 2021. Ratification of resignations. Updated 2020-2021 fundraisers. And approval of early graduation petition, Mountain House High School, student number 1076220. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull or discuss from the consent items?
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
Okay, we are on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Olson. Student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes. District administrative reports. A, superintendent's report. Superintendent Nicholas?
Yeah, I just have one piece of good news to share, or actually 2 pieces of good news to share with the board. We want to congratulate our Mountain House High School computer science teacher, Tracy Lewis, for her work in the computer science pathway. Because of this effort and her dedicated service and the great outcomes of our kids, our AP Computer Science has won the AP Computer Science Female Diversity Award for expanding young women's access to advanced placement computer science, which, as everyone probably has read somewhere, that's not a field that attracts a lot of female students. So we are now, Mountain House High School, and therefore LUSD, a top 1% of schools nationwide to be recognized for this important result. So again, we want to thank Mrs. Lewis and her efforts and all the young ladies who have taken the leap of faith to get into computer science. And I understand that this technology thing may stick around for a while, so it's probably a wise thing for them to do. So congratulations to Tracy Lewis and our advanced placement program.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Can I just say, as a mom who has a daughter who's a junior in that program, we are very grateful for Mrs. Tracy
That's
Lewis
great.
getting female students excited about that.
Yeah, we need to keep working on getting girls more interested in, I think we've done a great job with science and technology, but we need to continue. Enrollment report.
Oh, hold real quick. And then we have a couple of pictures. Mr. Harrison and I did a visit to 3 of our campuses, and we just I took a bunch of pictures, but a couple of them were way better than the others, so they made the cut. So we went to Bethany and Altamont and Wickland, and universal report, happy kids, happy teachers. we were all just happy to see each other. In fact, at two different campuses, it was like, it's so nice to see you guys. And then the one last little story is we had a little youngster, a little guy clearly had to run to the restroom. And so he went out of the classroom and bolted down the hallway, took a right, went where he went, and he was supposed to loop around the building. And then a few minutes later, he came back around, and there was never a happier kid moving through a campus. I mean, you could just see it in his demeanor. So we're very excited to be able to get the hybrid thing going again. And next week we'll bring back 6-8. So all total, by the end of this month, we'll have our special education students, our TK5 this week, 6-8 next week. So our total K-8 programs will be rolling in the hybrid program. And we hope that the continuous drop that we're seeing in case per 100,000, the case rate, the death rate, and hospital ICU rate will all continue to improve until we get to red, so we can roll out our plans for the hybrid model at the high school. And Madam President, that is my report.
Thank you.
Madam President, I have a question for the superintendent.
Certainly.
I realize that this will require that you dust off your crystal ball for an answer to this question, but I think a lot of people, the board included, would like to hear what your vision is of kids going back to school beyond just hybrid.
So we have had a discussion about what does the spring look like and what does the fall look like. So we believe that if things continue the way they are, and that means the vaccine rate, people being vaccinated, goes up and up and up and up and up, and the case rates, the case per 100,000, the ICU rates, and all that goes down, that we believe that red is truly viable, and we believe that orange and even possibly yellow. We have a standing guess about if we would be able to, by the end of this school year, to bring back kids 5 days a week in some form or fashion. We believe that's a distinct possibility. Obviously, things can change, and we've experienced that, but we think that is a possibility. We'll be wearing masks and doing all the safety protocols. But we really, that is contingent on vaccine distribution and availability, and that people keep social distancing and wearing masks. In the fall, in our mind, we are opening up 5 days a week, everybody wearing a mask, safety protocols, social distancing, common sense, and we want to roll. That's what we're planning for. We'll obviously be prepared if things have to shift, but that is what we're preparing for. And we're very passionate, and we believe in that. And we believe with the support of the community, all the way up through our board of trustees, that we will be able to pull that off effectively.
Thank you. I'm sure a lot of our families will be very happy to hear that that is our plan.
Just if I could comment on that, though, I was at a presentation today from AXA with some of the members from the CSBO and others in Sacramento. And one thing they cautioned about is that although we may have a spring break coming up and we may have vaccinations, not everyone has a vaccination, and there's still a chance for super spreader events. So even though spring break is coming up, to continue to social distance and shelter in place as much as possible.
Yes, well, I believe that Superintendent Nicholas's hope and belief is contingent upon people continuing to mask and social distance and do all the things that we're being asked to do.
And all of those things absolutely need to continue, because everything that I read and watch, they have no idea, even after you've received both vaccinations, can you still carry the virus? And every doctor I've seen on television, read in the news, they don't know. They don't know. So we need to continue to mask, continue the social distancing, and continuing the washing of the hands, and not to let our guard down. Last time we were on the improvement, we as a society let our guard down, and then we had an explosion. So hopefully that won't happen again.
Dr. Nicholas, I do have a question, Madam President. The CDC issued guidance on Friday specific to recommendations for school reopening, which I know we're following the guidance of the state and the county and adding yet one more layer. But have we looked at that those guidelines and seen how we match up with that as well?
I can say that every time they announce a new set of guidelines, Mr. Harrison and I have a golden conversation. And what we try to do is compare what we're doing in reality, what is in our plan, which we're trying to model in reality, and what the new guidelines are. And I would have to go back and double review the Friday CDC information, but I believe they were shooting for 1 day a week open. So we're already exceeding that with the exception of the high school. The other things were still the same stuff about
The actual protocols were the
protocols,
same? Okay.
the cleanliness, the spacing and stuff. And then we have a presentation tonight that we think not only for the COVID era, which I support President Lompel's vision of let's get her out of here and move on with life as fast as possible, but also for other health issues such as pollution and when we have smoke season if we have any wildfires. So we have something else on top of what we've already done, which I believe far and exceeds the guidelines that came out last week from the CDC, and we are meeting the state guidelines.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Enrollment report. Did we do that? No.
We started to, and then I had cute kid pictures. We have an enrollment of 6,381. We have about approximately 25 people in the process of enrolling, and we have 281 folks that have already signed up for school next year. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to show up in August, but that's a big number for this time of year. But it's indicative of the number of houses being built and people moving our way. So 6,700 enrollment is a real distinct possibility in the 21-22 school year.
Wow. District maintenance and operations report.
Jimmy's back.
Jimmy, we've missed you.
Just everybody gets out of line. I brought props. Good evening. Thanks for having me. I received the report from Keenan for our annual hazardous waste material report. The inspection did last January and last month. There were no major issues to report on the report. There were 2 medium issues, one at the high school and one at Lammersville. She recommended some of the chemicals are getting a little bit old, that we might want to dispose of them. And Lammersville, the science room has a shower that I don't think they even use, so she wants to check into that. This afternoon, I attended the safety committee meeting virtually. We had students returning to campus yesterday, as everybody knows. No issues reported on our end, so kudos to my custodial staff and operations staff on a smooth start so far, knock on wood, 2 days in. Last Friday, we had a lead custodian meeting. The main issues were COVID cleaning, students returning to campus, PPE, all the stuff we're focusing on. On Thursday the 4th, I had a Zoom meeting with our HVAC company regarding the bipolar ionization, which you're going to hear from Thor later on tonight. That night, I was attending the facilities committee meeting virtually. It's been a rough 2 weeks for the M&O department. We've had 3 big issues come up, hence the pipe I'm bringing. The first one was a septic tank at Lammersville. The leach lines are not draining properly, so either they're crushed or plugged. We can't figure it out. We had the septic company come out and look at it. They advised us the tank is severely undersized. It's about a 1,600 gallon tank. It should be 8,000 to 10,000 gallons, or 4 to 5 times under where it should be. So we met with an engineer last Wednesday, and he set up a meeting with us with the county for a week from Friday to talk about options for replacement and so on and so forth. The groundwater level is an issue in that part of the city, I'm told, and nitrogen could also be an issue. So those are things we might have to mitigate. So we're trying to be proactive, meet with the county, and kind of all get on the same page moving forward so we can get it fixed. We had an underground gas leak at Lammersville, which is here. Nice hole in the pipe. This was just outside the old special ed office on the little grass area in the front parking lot. We had to chase it for a few days. It was reported over the weekend. Someone called PG&E. AT&T was working on a pole. They called PG&E. They shut the gas off. It took us a while to chase it down. It just got fixed a couple hours ago. And PG came out and turned the gas back on, so we're up and ready to go. The guys are gonna go in the morning, light the pilot lights in the kitchen, the water heaters and stuff, so they'll be ready to go in the kitchen tomorrow. Last week at the high school, we discovered water in the boiler room. Water was seeping up from a pipe. There's 3 boilers in there. The main water lights, large pipes, 14, 16-inch pipe. Water was seeping up. We went out to the vault that's outside, popped the lid full of water, full of hot water. It was steaming hot water. So we think that where the pipe goes underground, there's a 90-degree elbow that goes in the building. We think it's leaking, maybe at that elbow. And now that this issue of Lammersville is resolved, we're going to start digging up that tomorrow to find out. Hopefully it's between the vault and the building and not
Under the building.
in the slab or something else. So that's what we're up against on that. Upcoming items, on the 18th, we have a fire hydrant inspection at the high school. Tomorrow we have a Zoom check-in meeting for our solar project, and then we have a site walk scheduled for Wednesday the 24th. Also next week, we have elevator testing at the high school on Tuesday, Hanson on Thursday, and then this building will be the following Tuesday on March 2nd. Staffing, we were able to fill the temporary lead position at Cuesta. The night custodian at Cordis is starting on Friday. The one at Wickland's still going through the hiring process. And we still have the 2 openings to fill at the high school. And as of yesterday, it wasn't, not a lot of applicants for 2. There's less than 4 or 5 people. So for 2 openings. And that is the end of my report.
We do have one other thing to announce. Jimmy has just contracted with the Public Broadcasting System, PBS, for a new television show called This Old School.
You call me Norm.
Madam President, I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Trustee Pombo.
Good. Oh, sorry.
Yes, for you, Jimmy. The leak in the pipe, where's that located in relation to the gas meter?
In relation to the gas main?
No, the gas meter, wherever the,
Oh, the meter is, if you go out the back of the kitchen, you have those tall cypress trees, it's right in there. And the main is on that small little grass area just on the other side of the driveway behind the kitchen.
because if it's on the street side of the meter, I have a suspicion that it's not.
It's on our side of the meter.
Oh, it's on our side of the meter?
Yes. So I was told very clearly by PG&E, it's my problem. I believe that's what the quote was.
Yeah, that was.
Of course you were.
That was why the question, because if it's on their side of the meter,
Right.
it's their problem and they should.
Yeah, they were not very helpful in wanting to work with us and hopefully track us down, but we got through it and we had to bypass some lines and pressurize the lines and eventually sorted it out. And we were able to find it, but it wasn't as easy as it could have been. So
So you said that someone reported it and then PG&E came out and turned the gas off. Somebody smelled it?
there were 2 people, they were working on the pole right in front of the parking lot. AT&T was working on that pole.
Uh-huh.
So either their workers and someone said it may have been a street sweeper. I didn't know they'd street swept that area. I've never seen street sweeper there. But someone recalled PG&E on a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
They came out, and then on Sunday too, they left the note on the door. So we called them, and Monday was a holiday, so we called them on Tuesday when we got in, and that started this whole process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing the pipe. Okay, moving on to action items. A, consider approval of 2020-2021 inter and intra-district transfer requests. Staff report?
None.
Move to approve 2020, 2021 inter and intra-district transfer requests.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes. B, consider approval of 2021-22 interdistrict transfer requests. Staff report?
None.
Move to approve 2021-2022 inter-district transfer requests.
Second.
I'm going to go with Stephanie. Any questions or comments? Okay, based on a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Olson, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes with 5 ayes. Consider approval of 2021-22 job share proposals for certificated employees. 1, Mia Hicks and Stephanie Martin. 2, Jessica Feuerbach and Brianne Feuerbach. And 3, Corinda Lowther and Jessica McCain. Staff report, Superintendent Nicholas?
Yes, we have allowed the job shares to go forward for years. Many of these teams have done this year after year. They've submitted their proposal. We recommend approval.
Move to approve job share proposals for certificated employees Mia Hicks and Stephanie Martin, Jessica Feuerbach and Brianne Feuerbach, Corinda Lowther and Jessica McCain.
Second.
Any further questions or comments?
Just like to say that I'm always impressed every year by the level of detail that these teachers go into as far as what their plan is for the year. And from all I can tell, it's been a very successful thing over the years.
And one of those plans even went as far as, even though they hope that they'll be in the regular traditional classroom of 5 days a week next year, they did go into detail about how they're dealing with this during virtual learning. So yes, those reports are always very, very impressive. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion passes with 5 ayes. Okay, D. And we usually have those people here. They were tuned in at home. So, D, consider approval of the second reading and adoption of staff updated board policies and administrative regulations. Staff report?
We recommend approval.
Okay.
Move to approve second reading and adoption of updated board policies and administrative regulations.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, student preferential vote?
Aye.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Bonilla, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries with 5 ayes. And E, consider approval of CSBA 2021 Delegate Assembly Ballot Candidate Selection for Subregion 8A. Do you have anything for this, Superintendent Nicholas?
I do not.
Okay, I do. I did a little bit of research, and it is recommended to us that by those in the area that are involved in CSBA, that we vote to, no, I don't need that. I needed my comments. That we vote for the incumbents, which is George Neely and Kit O'Hess. They do a great job representing our area as delegates, and I would suggest that we support them and vote for their reelection.
I move to approve the delegate assembly ballot candidates for selection for subgroup subregion 8A of the incumbents.
Second.
May I suggest that you specify the names, because there is a third name? Here, David. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Incumbents George Neely of Lodi Unified and Christopher Kit Osei of Ripon Unified.
Second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes.
I just wanted to point out that Mr. Kit Owis was my high school assistant principal in 1984 when I graduated from high school, and he's a good man.
I found that out in my research.
Is it too late to change my vote?
I did hear that in my research. This was Kirk's teacher.
Madam President, did you by chance learn if either of them come from a growth district like us.
No, one is from Ripon, which I don't think is growing very much, and the other one is Lodi.
And they're
So
not
there might-
growing?
no.
Okay.
No. I think the only other district in the area that might be growing close to us in our region could be Manteca. 'Cause there's some building out there. Yeah, but Dublin would be interesting to talk to because they're exploding like us. Yeah.
Or Lathrop.
Lathrop or
Yeah.
Oh,
County
Lathrop?
Unified, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, moving on to information and discussion items. Lammersville Unified School District Energy Report.
My pleasure to introduce Mr. James LeGrand.
What? Ready? Okay. So thanks for having me back. I gave a similar report last February 2020, and everyone was so thrilled about it. They invited me back this year to do the same thing. So just a little bit of background. We received a service of a part-time energy manager, Prop 39 money. The three things they do are site visits, energy dashboard, and energy assessment reports for our sites. Tonight we're going to talk about the dashboard and the assessment. The site visits are going to be scheduled in the spring. We haven't done those yet. What you want? Okay, cool. Just as a reminder, this is a typical energy breakdown cost-wise for the district. Lighting and HVAC are our two biggest cost factors, so we focus on those issues more than the other ones. Or tap or something?
You need a clicker.
I need a thing, huh? So the energy assessment report observations, if you looked at the chart on the right, has our energy, hard to see it, isn't it? Anyways, the electrical consumption was approximately 851,000 kilowatts less in the 2018 year versus 1920. 2017-18 is our baseline year. It's a little bit unfortunate that's our baseline year because we weren't fully built out at the high school and some of the other campuses weren't on board yet, but that's what we go off of 2017-18. But from 17-18 to 1920, again, approximately 850,000 less kilowatt hours. For the same period, it roughly cost decreased approximately $100,000 over that same time period. Comparing July through October of 1920 versus July through October of this year, our energy uses decreased about 20%. Cost avoidance of $72,000 and change, roughly. Obviously, hybrid learning and distance learning has played a big part in that. The district office is the only site to increase in the electrical consumption in that time. But again, we added a bump out and a second story on this building as well. So we're going to look at the site-by-site results. First one is Altamont. If you look at the very top chart on the left, that's 2017-18. It works its way down to the orange, which is current fiscal year, 2021. You see a steady decline from 17-18, 19-20 to 2021 at that school. Same thing with Bethany. When you look at the charts, again, steady decline from 18-19, 19-20 to 20-21. Hanson, very similar. Lammersville, 18, 19, and 19, 20 are pretty close energy use wise. We had a big drop off this year, obviously, because there's no students around. So maybe not as much of a drop off as the other sites. Again, I'll remind you that Lammersville is the only school that has PG&E in the district. All the rest of the schools have MID. Mountain House High School, pretty significant drop there. Cuesta has long been rumored to be our problem child. If you look at Cuesta, the chart, a steady decline the last 3 years. So that, I would say, that's not our biggest issue anymore. We've spent a lot of time over there. Folks still have attention to it. Obviously, it's paid off. I think there's some other schools in the district that probably need a little more attention from us at this point. And then Wickland has a decent drop off as well. We talked about the district office going up a little bit, again, with the increased square footage and people in the building, so on and so forth. The district office actually has gone up a little bit compared to the other schools. So we received some recommendations about how to further save energy in the district from the energy manager. Obviously, HVAC. Heating, cooling set points at 45 and 90. We actually go 45 and 95, so we go a little bit higher than what they recommend. Lighting, make sure all the lighting works. Electronic devices, TVs and other equipment in the rooms need to be shut off. We have the custodians do that. Mini fridges, we don't have too many of those around the district, so those should be shut off. And then the docu cameras, that's what goes with equipment. We don't have a lot of rooms with pets and stuff. The blinds are closed. The kitchen is an interesting idea. I did this in a former district. In the summertime, we would take all of the smaller kitchens, the freezers, we would consolidate them all at the high school, and then we would shut off the units at the rest of the schools. We've never done it here, but it may be something I could explore with Bernie and see if it works for her. And then the pool heater was off up until, a couple months ago when swimming was gonna start back up. So we've been doing something with that. This is our energy dashboard. It looks a little bit different than last year, where they added a few more tabs. So this is the energy use overview. Again, this dashboard's interactive, so you could break it down as drop-down menus with sites and months and all kinds of things to mess with. Again, the lower left corner has the electrical usage by fiscal year, and you see the drop from 1819, 1920 to 2021. School comparison, the chart on the left is cost per square footage. Lammersville is our highest, but again, that's a PG&E rate. And then electric use per square foot, the district office is the highest one, Lammersville's second. That yellow, this is estimated savings. The yellow line that goes above the bar graph, that's our 2017-18 baseline year. And then the graphs below are 2021. And again, our bills only go through October. MID's such a small utility, we get the reports about every 3 months, whereas we can get PG&E every single month. So this is another way to look at the school comparison. Electrical uses, utility rate, all that kind of stuff is on there. Again, district office is the highest in Lammersville, then the high school. This is a new features here. They talk about carbon footprint, and our district has saved a total of 1.437 million kilowatts in the fiscal year, equivalent to 2.2 million plus pounds of CO2 removed from the environment due to our energy efforts. And the pictures below just give you equivalent what that equates to and other items. So everybody wants to know about the numbers, right? So what I did, I went through, added up all the bills from 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, and then 2021 through October. You see a drop from 18-19 with 800,000 plus, drops down to almost a little less than 700,000 for 19-20. And so far this year, we're at about 270, and we're in February.
Jimmy, can you go back one slide? No, the very last slide.
The chart one?
Yeah, the chart.
That one?
Yeah. In 2019, 2020, it says Bethany only spent $49.
I'm sorry.
Great job, Bethany. That's the new benchmark, by the way, Jimmy.
Is it? Okay, cool. Did I make a typo?
Yeah, most likely.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to.
Is it $49?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's me. That's a typo.
That's okay.
Are you sure?
It's 49. It's 49,000 something. So sorry.
Okay, thank you.
We're not that energy efficient yet.
Darn, I was hoping they had some secret over there, Bethany.
It's amazing
Sorry
how
about
much
that.
money
But the
we
total
save.
is. Sorry about that. That's my fault.
It's okay.
It's amazing how much money we save when there's no kids here.
Crazy idea. We'll keep them all.
It's a new strategy.
Well, the good news is we've saved all that money.
Yeah.
The government isn't paying us for the increase in attendance that we
Yeah.
have, so.
Yeah, but good work addressing and monitoring Questa.
Okay. That it? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from
Thank
the
you.
board?
Nope.
I guess we can put all that savings to use in upgrading some of our facility problems.
Yeah. Okay, item B, HVAC upgrade bipolar ionization. Superintendent Nicholas?
Yeah, first we have a public comment. Alva Redis. I am concerned of the kids' health in adding this bipolar ionization to each unit. Please do some research. One article on Healthline quoted about negative ions. They can produce dangerous indoor ozone and just waste space and electricity. And there has been some articles on doctors as well. Please do look into proper, true HEPA filters. And now Mr. Harrison will give a presentation on staff's recommendations related to the ionization.
Board President Lampel, trustees, nice to see everybody in person. So at the last meeting, I talked a little bit about the CDPH guidelines that came out late last year and the new updates regarding masks and other things. In those updates, we also talked about ventilation of classrooms. We talked about air purifiers, MERV 13 filters, and open windows. Now, one of the things that we've done at the suggestion of CDPH is have an HVAC engineer consult with the school district. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And when we did that, we did two things. One, we wanted to know, could we put MERV 13 filters in our schools and in our current machines, our current HVAC machines? Jimmy walked all the sites with the HVAC engineer, and his recommendation was, no, you should not put those in there because you can wreck your HVAC units, which other districts that put in 13s and did not follow direction are experiencing in some cases. So we asked the HVAC engineer, okay, so what should we do to try to bring up our MERV rating or to help the air in our classrooms? So after we adjusted the air, we adjusted the exhaust fans, we were recycling air 6 times an hour. Our HVAC rep suggested that we go with a needlepoint bipolar ionization unit that attaches to our HVAC units. These units do not produce ozone. These units are commonly used in hospitals, airports, large office spaces, arenas, schools, airplanes, and the list goes on where they're used. This solution is a more permanent solution to air quality issues in our classrooms than just a air filter that sits on the floor that can get broken, get knocked over by a kid, and it really only does a space around it of about 4 feet. So our HVAC rep suggested a model a bipolar ionization model D5 1500. And my partner here, Mr. LeGrand, looks the other way. My partner here, Mr. LeGrand, has one, and he's going to kind of explain how it works for you.
Oh, it's small.
So they're not very big. This would work in a 5-ton unit or smaller, which is most of our units in the district are 5-ton or smaller. Only the high school has the big, larger units. There's not much to the unit. There's 4 or 5 wires to hook up, an on-off switch. There's a magnet that attaches inside the unit, or you could screw it to the sheet metal if you want. And you typically put this before the blower motor, right? This thing rotates back and forth and creates ions. So if you can remember back to high school chemistry, oxygen is an O2 molecule. It takes that oxygen molecule and splits it into positive and negative ions, right? And then that molecule reacts with H2O in the air to form H2O2, which is hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide then attacks any sort of mold, a bacteria, anything, and encapsulates it and then kills it. That's what this does. And then it also, if the light is shining right in your house, you see those little flecks of dust and stuff, it clumps those together and makes larger particles that are easily caught by the filter. So that's what the unit does.
So it sounds like it would be good for allergies as well as.
It works for pet dander. We don't have any pets, but pet dander, it works for allergies. It works for smoke. If we have a situation when the wildfires are going, like we were a couple years ago, and we had worried about getting fresh air in the room. Mold, it'd be good for flu season next year. Anything, it's a long-term solution as opposed to spending a ton of money on these high-quality filters that you're going to throw away in 3 months, just toss them in the garbage.
Right.
So that's where we're at.
We laugh about the pet dander, but people bring it in on their clothing.
Yeah.
If I could add to his fantastic explanation of the white papers that we received and had to read as homework, the units cost are approximately $1,071 per unit, and the total quote for the K-8 district, not the high school, because his recommendation, our high school units are like Lamborghinis. He said you don't need to do anything with the Lamborghini units that we have at the high school, but that we should use this product in our K-8 schools and here at the district office. The K-8 schools in the district office are included in the quote, and the total would be not to exceed $380,000. And the funding we would use is CARES Act money. I think I covered everything. Any questions?
And those units do not produce ozone.
They produce less than 0.0005 parts per million. Regulation demands 0.05 parts per million. So it's 5,000ths better than regulation. Thanks for the help on the math.
English teachers.
English teacher, sorry.
Continue, go ahead.
Do you know what the life expectancy of these units is?
I do not.
You do not.
Do you? Life expectancy.
10 plus years.
Which works out to relatively cheap per year when you divide the cost of the unit by 10 years.
And we also need to consider, one of the things that's really catching my attention is all of the uses of this. We live in fire country. For the past, 5 years, we've had a whole season with very unhealthy air where some kids stayed home because it was unhealthy to go outside. So the air in our schools will potentially be better than what they have at home. What about Cordis? Because their stuff's all brand new.
Yeah, the white papers that I read, one of the things that that makes this tool work real well is we have MERV 8 filters. Generally, is that what we have at these school sites, and they're below 13. And what CDPH is trying to get us to is 13, which isn't tenable for us at these schools. Mm-hmm. But when you add a unit like this, the combination of adding this unit and MERV 8 and MERV 8 filters that we currently have brings us close to the 13 number that we're trying to reach.
So Cordis was also built with the MERV.
Exactly, with the same type of system. Yeah.
Other questions, comments?
I would just also echo that there's a lot of allergies in Mountain House and people suffer, and so to have a filtration system that helps with that, even when there's no fires, will be really great.
Yeah, it took us a little while to figure out exactly what device we should use because other school districts went out and bought machines sitting in the classroom. And we felt that was a waste of money. We wanted to do something a little more permanent and something that would be lasting and not be in the way and that would work with our central HVAC system.
They're in the way, they're not always placed right in the room, and they disappear.
And they break. Yeah. Any questions?
I'm good. I think this is a great idea. I think our biomedical students need to study all that science that you just quoted.
I recall a NaCl as salt.
I would request that district staff circle back with the gentleman from public comment, let him know the specs.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Can we please send the parent, the community member that sent in a comment, send him the research that we have access to and why we feel that this is a safe recommendation for our students.
And if I could give you one more piece of information, our HVAC company said that they would commit 2 guys to install, and they could install a large school like Cuesta, 2 guys in 6 days. So potentially we could get this done fairly quickly as long as the supply of the devices stays true and not everybody else is doing what we're doing.
Don't tell them yet.
Right.
Don't tell them until we're installed.
Yeah.
Another thing I like about these units, better than the portable units that go in a corner somewhere is that these units treat all the air rather than just whatever air makes it through the portable unit in the corner.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, definitely.
It's what's best for kids. It's a great idea. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good?
You.
All right.
Okay, moving on to information and discussion items, DARE support.
So a request came to me with I can't say request twice in the same sentence, but there's a request. The district has made a commitment, a significant commitment to the importance of the DARE program historically. And Officer Abercrombie has been a legendary leader of the DARE program for our fifth graders. The pandemic has made it very difficult for that program to raise funds. And the request is that our district provide a small nominal amount of money of $5,000 to support the program, in particular with this year because of the inability for people to raise funds. So we wanted to bring it forward for board discussion.
So I was the one that asked Dr. Nicholas to put this on the agenda. Officer Abercrombie spoke to Trustee Pombo, who sent it over to me. They usually sell quite a bit of merchandise at the graduations, and they rely on a lot of that for their awards. You know, the kids get the medals. Those are not cheap. They get T-shirts. So there is an expense related to the program, and they are really struggling with fundraising. So I told him that we would bring this forward and consider it. I also told him that I'd be more than happy to connect him with our foundations. Maybe our foundations and our PTAs could have a dinner night out. You know, I'll go to Burger M again to help them out financially. So Tracy's been giving them money for years. We've never been asked to contribute anything. And in this time of need, I thought it was a good idea.
I think it's an important program.
Yeah, I've worked in districts where they didn't have it, and it was evident that there were a lot of problems that we've managed to avoid by making sure our students are very well educated. And Officer Abercrombie does an amazing job and really motivates those kids. I have no concern whatsoever, no reservation. I think we need to put our money where our mouth is.
Absolutely.
I concur. I think it's a great program, and we've benefited from it since I've lived here, and I'm assuming well before that. So if we've never contributed to it, it's a very small ask.
Sunita, I see you nodding. Would you like to comment?
I just know that it's a really good program, and I think if we can support, we should support in any way that we can.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, so we will move forward with that. Excellent. Okay, moving on to calendar. Wednesday, March 3rd is the District Advisory Committee at 5:30, and also on Wednesday, March 3rd is the next Governing Board meeting at 7 o'clock.
It says virtual.
It says virtual.
Oh,
but
it
I
says
believe
virtual.
that's a typo.
Well, we're running into a nomenclature issue here because it's virtual for the public. It's public for the board. So I made the decision to keep it called this simply because of that. But
Okay.
just
Fair enough. That
Yeah,
works.
no, I agree. I wouldn't want the public to think that they could
Yep.
come in.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So we understand what that virtual means.
So I will withdraw my comment of it being a typo.
Yes, likewise.
Okay, in a few minutes, we'll be adjourning to closed session to consider the following agenda items. Public employee dismissal, discipline dismissal release complaint under Government Code 54957. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation under Governing Code 54956.9 D and 1, OAH case 20210108828. And conference with real property negotiator under Government Code 54955. Hard to read small numbers with one I. 54956.8. Agency negotiator, property 397 East Ramsey in Mountain House. Agency negotiator Superintendent Nicholas. Negotiating parties, Mountain House Developers, Camilos Trimark Shea Homes. And under negotiations are the price, terms, payment, or both. Do we have a motion?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Okay. Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Olson to adjourn to closed session. Student preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:15 to close session.